Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Geborg Young Economist Competition's virtual award ceremony for 2020. My name is Eerstejaar, and I'm a junior lecturer at Stellenbosch University. I will be facilitating the event this evening. Before we start, I would like to do a brief run-through of the program. Tonight, we have three wonderful keynote speakers who I will be introducing to you later. We also have received videos from all top 10 teams, and I cannot wait to hear who they are and how they experienced this competition. After we heard from all of the teams, I will briefly explain how the competition was set up and scored, and then we will proceed to announce the winners of the Young Economist Competition of 2020. So I would just once again like to welcome you to the Geborg Young Economist Virtual Awards evening. Congratulations to the teams that are here with us tonight. We had 30 teams and 79 students from the University of Cape Town, University of Western Cape, and Stellenbosch University who took part in the competition. And we have the top 10 teams here tonight. This year, we had 15 teams competing from UCT, 8 teams from UWC, and 7 teams from Stellenbosch. All of these teams did extremely well in taking on the challenge of forecasting during these uncertain times. With that said, I would like to introduce our first keynote speaker, Craig Lambeau, who will be providing us with insights into forecasting in practice. Craig is the senior economist at the Bureau of Economic Research at Stellenbosch University. Craig holds a Master's of Economics degree and a Master's of Business Administration degree, both from Stellenbosch University. Craig is responsible for analyzing and forecasting trends in fixed investment, and he has extensive knowledge of the Western Cape economy. He participated in the BER's internship program in 2007 and rejoined the BER in 2010. His main focus at the BER is on the construction sector, and he is the editor of the quarterly Building and Construction Report, as well as the co-editor of the Building Cost Report. Let us now hear from Craig about forecasting in practice.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me to share some insights about economics and more specifically economic forecasting in practice. I did a similar talk at last year's event, and we were on the top floor of the Naspers building overlooking the city's skyline with the mountainous backdrop. It was breathtaking. Now, while most of us are sitting, we've been sitting for the past few months in front of a PC screen or a laptop screen in our garage or living room or home office if lucky. And that's sort of one of the downsides of economic forecasting. We typically focus on the middle of the road scenario and we try and stay clear of the extremes, understandably, because the extremes are less likely, and also because of the pressures on forecasters. If you're going to be wrong, at least be as wrong as the next forecaster. But the global pandemic has highlighted a couple of lessons that I've learned over my more than a decade as an economic forecaster, and I want to share some of these insights with you briefly. Firstly, uncertainty is par for the course. The list of unknowns always exceeds the list of knowns. But within this environment, us as economic forecasters, we still need to provide insight and information which is robust and reliable. Second, and related to this, is it is necessary for economists to be widely read. It's no use just reading the business section in the newspaper or just consulting financial and business magazines, because economic outcomes are so much more than just the business end of things. It's about the rule of law. It's about the environment. It's about public health. It's about politics. It's about geopolitics, just to mention a few. And it's necessary to have your finger on the pulse on a number of these facets. It doesn't mean that you need to become a jack of all trades. It's still crucial to consult with the relevant experts in the field, but it's important for you as an economist to bring that sort of external information into an economic perspective, or to frame it from the point of view of an economist. My knowledge of communicable diseases, for example, has improved 100-fold over the past few months, and I'm sure yours has too, given that you've had to forecast the economy. 2 years ago, when the Western Cape was in the midst of its one of its biggest droughts in decades, I became a sort of part-time specialist on climate change and the environment. So it's necessary to be able to provide a robust forecast, to also understand different facets and different components of what's happening in the real world, so that it can reflect and be reflected in an economic forecast. The third sort of insight, or the third point that I can make, is around the use of models and the use of statistical techniques. Now, as forecasters, we've come to rely on that quite significantly, but the pandemic has again highlighted the value of primary research. Many forecasters have had to step away from their PCs and away from the econometric modeling and actually go and engage with people. And that's something that I would encourage as a forecaster, particularly in times of this sort of level of uncertainty. Speak to small businesses, speak to your Uber driver, speak to the man in the street, and speak to your neighbor. All of these are emphasize the sort of social and human component of economics, and gives you a sort of nuanced insight outside of just the sort of model building and the statistical methodologies used to provide robust forecasts. Fourthly, you need to be nimble but also resolute. What I mean by that is you should make allowance to change your forecast if there are fundamental changes in the economy, but you also need to be able to gauge whether the change is fundamental or not. It's no good changing your forecast dramatically on the basis of one data point that disappointed or exceeded expectations only marginally. The pandemic, again, is a good example of this. It was, or it is, a fundamental change in the way the economy operates, and it does necessitate a fundamental change in the forecast, at least over the short term. But over the longer term, the sort of combination of factors in South Africa haven't changed from pre the pandemic. Yes, it will take a while for our economy to recover. In other words, the level of GDP, or the level of economic output, is expected to return to pre-COVID-19 levels only sometime in 2023 or 2024. But the growth trajectory is still hampered by the same sort of constraints on potential growth that we saw pre the pandemic. And it's important to try and see through that noise and to determine what change is fundamental and what change is temporary, and what doesn't really require any major changes to the forecast. Even the most experienced forecasters in South Africa had no idea what was waiting for us in 2020. If you look at the Build consensus forecast, for example, and this is the average expectation for GDP amongst a range of economists, and mostly South African economists, for GDP for 2020, taking the various vintages. So the earliest vintage that I've included was November, and the latest one was published in September. Now, in November last year, most economists in South Africa expected growth to accelerate from its level in 2019, so growth of 1.1%. As the year progressed, as we moved into January, because we saw that sort of political tensions were still quite high, that figure was reduced, and the expectation was for growth of about 0.8% by January, February. Come March, the world was much more aware of a global pandemic, or the possibility of a global pandemic, after watching China struggle with massive infection rates, with high mortality rates. And that sort of was factored into the economic forecast at the time. But because something of this nature has happened in the history of recorded economic data, and it was very difficult to try and pinpoint the sort of magnitude of the impact on GDP. And many people just shrugged it off and said, well, it's going to be as bad as the great financial crisis in 2009. And boy, were they wrong. And as the year progressed, as the pandemic progressed, as the level of lockdown progressed, so in other words, new information was added, as the lockdown progressed from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, from level 5 to level 4 to level 3, so too did the forecasts deteriorate, to the extent that the September consensus forecast is for our economy to contract by almost 8%. So that's miles off where we were not even a year ago, at growth of 1.1%. Lastly, it's better to get comfortable with it now rather than later. But irrespective of how sophisticated the technique is that you use, your forecast will seldom be right. And that's okay. But what is pivotal is that you understand the story, that you understand the levers and the mechanisms at play within the economy to at least get a good sense of the direction and the magnitude, if not the exact point forecast. And that's one of the things that I quite enjoy about this competition, is it's not just about the number, but does the number that you produce or the forecast that you produce actually reflect an understanding of economic fundamentals, an understanding of the world or the economic world that we live in. And so on that note, I do want to wish you luck with the rest of your studies, hopefully in economics. I want to wish you luck with your careers, hopefully as economic forecasters, because, it is quite a competitive environment in economics. And I look forward to you or to engaging with you in the future in the professional capacity as forecaster versus forecaster. Have a good evening further. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greg. I think it's valuable to put into context not only how forecasting is usually approached, but also how forecasting could have been approached during 2020. And on that note, I would like to share the first few videos from the students to tell us who they are and how they experienced this competition during 2020.
Good evening and welcome to Economics Talk. My name is Jeremy Simpson and I'm studying towards a Bachelor of Business Science degree in Economics at UCT.
And I'm Jatishna Jagdo, studying a Bachelor of Business Science in Actuarial Science.
We're the Clever Kinesians, coming to you live from Durban.
This just in, we've made the top 10 of the Young Economist competition, and we're here to share some of our highlights.
Firstly, this competition helped us understand the complexities of the economy and the challenges that underpin forecasting economic indicators. Many seemingly random variables were at work, and it often meant that it was quite a daunting task to take all of these into account.
Much like predicting the weather, there was a significant level of uncertainty. What forecasting asked of us was to question how our prediction could be wrong, way before we knew the actual outcome. We had to analyze our assumptions and use evidence from research in order to guide our thinking. Learning the invaluable skill of decision-making is what made this challenge so rewarding for us.
I'd like to thank UCT, UWC and Stellenbosch University for this fantastic learning opportunity, and to wish the other teams the best of luck in the announcement of the winner tonight, and in their future economic careers as well.
Hello, my name is Rebecca. Unfortunately, I am the only person in my team. My admin skills are dubious at best, so by the time I finally got my ducks in a row, it was a bit late to recruit anybody else. But I did thoroughly enjoy it. I think the best aspect was that it forced me to go research stuff that I wouldn't otherwise have thought of reading up about. So I learned a lot and I enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone who organized it.
Hi, my name is Siamtanda Mabizela and I am a BCom student at the University of the Western Cape, majoring in finance and investments. My experience in the competition was excitingly challenging. I am truly glad that I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone and decided to give it a shot, because at the end of the day, I knew that I absolutely had nothing to lose but in actual fact, I had so much to gain. I truly learned a lot from the experience, and it put so much into perspective for me, and it really helped to narrow the gap between varsity and the real working world. I think the most exciting part of it all is that I did it all alone. So it was so much learning for me. There were challenges here and there, but it truly made me appreciate.
Hello, my name is Melly Miller and I'm currently a first year BCom Management Accounting student at the University of Stellenbosch. My team name is Happy Chappy because I was very excited about this competition. For me, the most interesting part was the forecastings. Well done to every student who worked very hard for this accomplishment.
I'm so glad to hear that you all had a positive experience with the competition and that it added value to your lives. I will now introduce our second keynote speaker, editor of Die Burger, Willem Jordaan. It is largely thanks to him that we can all be here tonight. Willem Jordaan has been the editor of Die Burger since April 2016. He is an alumnus of Stellenbosch University, where he acquired a BA degree in political science and philosophy, a BA honours degree in philosophy, cum laude, a B.Phil honours degree in journalism, and an M.Phil in journalism, also cum laude. Jordaan started his journalism career at Die Burger in 1999. That same year, he was promoted to Die Burger's parliamentary reporter and later to political reporter in the provincial legislature. In 2005, he was appointed political editor for Die Burger and deputy editor in 2009. Die Burger is an award-winning Afrikaans daily newspaper, and they are also the sponsor and the hosts of this event. With that said, I'm glad to introduce Willem Jordaan.
Hi guys, congratulations to every one of you for participating in this competition of which Die Burger is very proud to be associated with. And I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the many jokes people like to tell about economists. Whom of you have heard a good one lately? I'll tell you one. Someone told me the other day the current recession has been predicted by economists. Well, as a matter of fact, 9 out of the last 5 recessions were predicted by economists. Now, of course, there are a myriad of these jokes about the profession. Aside from being vaguely amusing, I think these jokes reveal something important about society. It tells you the story about how society is at its very heart quite uncomfortable with complexity. It is uncomfortable with the lack of absolute clarity. It's uncomfortable with the absence of final truths. But of course, this is the very environment in which you guys operate. What is clear is that you people are drawn to complexity, and a world in which complexity is multiplying infinitely and change is becoming ever more rapid. For the majority of people, this is indeed very scary. But the fact is, our society needs people who are fascinated by complexity rather than being repelled or scared by it. We need people who are willing to engage with complex data sets and to try and find the important trends. We need people who can keep head above water in a maelstrom of data, of complex human behavior, of history, and of politics. And that, at least in part, is why Die Burger sponsors this competition year after year. We need more people like you. And even if our chosen profession is not within the field of economics, I would like to urge you not to lose your affinity for complexity. It will put you in good stead in life. I congratulate you once again and wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you, Willem, for providing this opportunity for students to explore the complexity of economics today. We will now hear from a few more of our young economists.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are the forecaster team, and we are enlightened to be part of the top 10 forecasters for the Young Economist competition. We are studying BCom Accounting at the University of the Western Cape. I am Endefeline Kordum from Clanwilliam, Western Cape, and I must emphasize that this was a very exciting competition as it made me feel like a real economist. Now, all that said, I'm going to hand you guys over to my partner, Yandisa, who will be introducing us. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name is Eerstejaar-ekonomiestudente and I'm part of the forecast team from UWC. Being in this competition has taught me that everything is attainable so long as you know how to prioritize right. Having gone through a pandemic, being busy with online learning and still being able to show up every week for our forecast has instilled a level of resilience that I never knew I had in me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Sahil Rajnarayan and my partner Sayuri Reddy are both first-year actuarial students at UCT. Both of us enjoyed our economics courses and were enthusiastic when entering the Young Economist competition to gain real-world experience. Personally, I have a passion for entrepreneurship and wanted to learn about how economic indicators would potentially affect my business.
I am Sayuri Reddy, and what a wonderful journey it has been participating in this competition. I personally entered because of my keen interest in investing in the stock market, and the research done here has helped me learn a lot more about the different economic variables and how they have affected the country. Thank you for the opportunity. It has been a great honor. We plan to use our newfound knowledge in our journey going forward.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is William Valette.
And my name is Dionys Thomas.
And we are Team Synergetic Forecasters from Stellenbosch University. We entered the Young Economist competition to gain experience in the world of economics. Through our competition, we realized that economic indicators are more than just numerical values, but that they help policy decision makers.
This competition allowed us to work as a team on different platforms and on many different levels. It allowed us to analyze situations in such a way that we could predict the future. This competition has taught us that the future cannot always be predicted, but can be prepared for.
Hello, my name is Altsha Shalachuka from Team Economic Compass. I'm currently studying business science and economics at the University of Cape Town. This experience has been challenging but also interesting to say the least, as I'd never done this before. I'd only seen the Reserve Bank and other institutions forecast various economic indicators, but I never really understood the aspect of forecasting in depth. But in spite of all the challenges, I was able to broaden my knowledge on economics and also forge a deeper understanding in the world of economics. Thank you.
Thank you all for sharing your experience with us. I shall now introduce our third and final keynote speaker, Professor Rachel Jafta. Rachel has a master's as well as a PhD in economics and is a professor in economics at Stellenbosch University. She is a director of Naspers and Economics and chair of the Cape Town Carnival Trust. She joined Naspers as the director in 2003 and was appointed a director of Media 24 in 2007. She is a member of the South African Economic Society and serves on the management committee of the Bureau for Economic Research at Stellenbosch University. She has been chair of the Media 24 board since April 2013. Since 2015, she has served on the International Advisory Council of Fundação Dom Cabral Business School in Brazil. Let us hear from Professor Rachel Jafta.
Good afternoon, everyone, and a very special afternoon to the young economists. Many years ago, when we started this competition, we wanted to give first-year students a chance to try their hand at economics, to see whether they like it or not, and if they did, hopefully they would become the great economists of South Africa. You were asked to forecast several variables. Under normal conditions, forecasting is already not an easy task, but you were doing it during a pandemic. So I really tip my hat to you for trying and for getting it right. So a huge congratulations to all of those who participated and the ones who won. I am Rachel Yafta. I'm with the economics department, and I was part of the team that started the Young Economist competition. So this competition is really close to my heart. So I want to thank also the team of colleagues that have kept this competition going. Thank you very, very much. And Die Burger, who has been our partner in this competition for many years. Baie dankie, ons waardeer dit baie. And enjoy the celebrations. I'm really sorry I'm missing that today, but hopefully I will be there next.
Thank you, Rachel. We also hope that you can be at the function next year. Before we start with the final part of the function, let us hear from the rest of the teams that are here with us tonight.
Hi, I am Dombizethu Celi.
Hello everyone, I am Zibusiso Memela and we are Finance Forecasts. And the Young Economist competition has been a great learning opportunity for us and has kind of given us an opportunity to live a day in an economist's life, so to say. And has also been a great way to experience firsthand how economies react in times of financial crises such as the coronavirus pandemic we're currently facing, and to put the theory which we learn in class to practice in such cases.
And I think as students in the Economic and Management Sciences faculty doing economics as a module, it became quite clear to us not only what the economy was by definition, which is quite a complex and nuanced concept to define, but we were also able to interpret, analyze, and forecast information using proper economic tools. And that, I think, is one of the greatest lessons that we could have learned from this competition.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tari Roshanai. I am Team Macromanic. Doing the Young Economist competition was very interesting. I learned a lot of things. It was very nice to take everything that I was learning in theory and see how it actually works practically in the real world. I learned a lot about how economies in different countries influence each other, and that was very interesting. And yeah, so I really enjoyed this. And I came across things that I usually wouldn't have come across had I not done this competition. For instance, really enjoy reading the news, and it is through doing this competition that I came across The Economist, which publishes really interesting articles. So thank you for everyone who hosted this competition. It was really nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Once again, thank you to all of the teams who contributed to the videos tonight. You really made it a lot easier to organize this function, and it was so nice to hear from you during this virtual event. We are now at the final part of the function, but before I announce the winners, let me explain how the competition was structured. So the teams were asked to forecast selected variables before specific dates and to provide motivations for their forecasts. The team forecasts were then scored and weighted automatically on Stellenbosch University's Department of Economics website. Each score is based on the accuracy of the team forecast and the overall distribution of the forecasts. After all the actual values of the forecasted variables are received, the team motivations are scored anonymously and independently by 2 lecturers. Each motivation receives a score of 0, 1, or 2, depending on the level of insight shown. These scores are then aggregated to give us the final score. I want to add here that the final scores to make the top 3 were very close, especially between the 3rd and the 4th place. Now, just a reminder for what these teams have been competing for. The first prize tonight is 12,000 Rand in cash for the winning team. Our second prize is 5,000 Rand in cash for the team, and our third prize is 4,000 Rand in cash for the team. The top 3 teams will also be receiving certificates, and all of the top 10 members teams will be receiving certificates as well. Now, for the moment we have all been waiting for, the winners of the Young Economist competition for 2020. In 3rd place, with a score of 60.75, we have Rebecca Allerbach from Absolute Advantage. Congratulations. Congrats, Rebecca.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to say anything?
Apart from that, I very much enjoyed it. And I think what a lot of the other students said resonated with me in their introduction videos, that I think the knowledge that we have gained here, we can continue to use for many years coming forward. So it's been a very valuable experience, and a very big thank you to everybody who organized it. I do hope you continue doing it for many more years so that many other first-year students can also enjoy it.
Thanks so much, Rebecca, and congratulations. Like, it's really amazing. Well done. Okay, so after Rebecca, in second place, we have, with a score of 62.66 and for a prize of 5,000 Rand for the team, we have Yandisa Diko and Andufeline Cordum of Forecaster. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congrats, guys. Would you like to say anything?
Firstly, I'd like to add that I'm absolutely speechless.
Thank you so much for this honor. I feel terribly humbled to receive this prize.
I'd like to add that I'd like to thank everyone for this wonderful opportunity. I think I speak with utmost honesty.
Thank you so much for this honor. I feel terribly humbled to receive this prize. Thank you so much for this honor.
What is that? Being in this competition. Am I live?
Sorry, Yandisa, did you still want to say something?
Yes, I also wanted to add that the experience has exposed me to a great potential that I never knew I had, especially considering the fact that this was my first time doing economics. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very thankful for it all. Thank you.
That's amazing, and you guys did so well.
Thank you so much.
Really. So I'm going to move on to announce our first place for a prize of 12,000 Rand with a score of 66.77. I would like to congratulate Altisha Legoka from Economic Compass.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm actually so shocked. I'm so shocked.
Did very well.
I really don't know what to say. I'm so shocked. I'm really so shocked. But this experience actually helped me widen like my potential I really never knew I had. I was able to actually think outside the box, to think that I only knew about this competition like an hour prior to the closing, to the deadline, which was actually like shocking. But yeah.
I'm
Thank
so glad
you so much.
You still got to compete. You did really well. Like, I'm so glad all of you are here with us tonight.
Yes.
And congratulations. So I just want to say well done to all of the teams that are here tonight. The competition would not have been a success without all of you participating and without all of your enthusiasm. And it's been outstanding. Thank you again. And also thank you for all of your patience with all of the emails and all of the admin. And we will be in contact with all of you regarding your prizes. Then, on behalf of the first-year economics lecturing team, I would like to thank Die Burger, our host and the sponsor of the prizes. I want to also thank Madeleine Venter, the marketing manager at Media 24 News, and the Burger virtual events team for making this virtual function possible. I would then also like to thank Dr. Hilton Hollander for helping with the organization of the competition. And then finally, I would like to thank Willem Jordan again for the support that he has been giving this event. I hope that everybody has a lovely evening, and once again, congratulations to all of the top 10 teams and all of our top 3 winners. Thank you so much for making time to be here with us tonight.